All right. Get everything up and running here. All right, roll call, please.
All board members are present this evening.
And the next item is approval of agenda. I've got one item that I'd like to remove. We're gonna have some more discussion on it in-house. And that's item 9G LPI newsletter agreement. We're gonna pull it off and we'll move it into January's agenda. And other than that, that's the only item. So can I get somebody to make a motion to approve?
I would move to approve the agenda with the deletion of 9G.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported. Vote please.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Hall votes yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Ms. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes because you promised to put it on January. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes, and I promise.
I said because we promised to put that item on January's agenda.
So I promised I'd put it on January's agenda. So, all right. The next item is a consent agenda approval.
For the consent agenda, can we discuss the meeting holiday calendar?
Sure.
That's it. And I move to approve the consent agenda move to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
It moved and supported. Discussion. Yes.
So Tammy, did any of the board ones end up changing? I tried to look at them all, but
So there's 4 elections where we had to move from the first Monday to the second.
so that's May.
That's February or well, I don't know about February.
No, February looks like the 5th.
Right.
March, I think is one of them, isn't it?
No, March is the
It's-
4th.
No, March is or February is fine. So it's just 3 elections, May, August, and November. And then there was holidays that interfered, and the first Monday is really tough.
So we determined for May, August and November. If the attorney can't be present, someone will be there or,
Right.
Okay.
There weren't any really other good options to stay with Mondays.
and then we've gone down to one budget workshop. Just in
Correct.
September, and then we would move to approve the budget in November.
Right,
And if we have any discussions, it would just be on the normal meeting.
right.
Yep.
Or if needed, we could call a special additional budget workshop meeting.
Okay.
And then board members should also note that there is a joint meeting with the planning, zoning, and DDA boards on January 24th. What's that?
January,
It's Wednesday.
yep,
And then in the holidays, we added the day after the 4th of July, which makes sense since it lands
Right,
on a
that-
Thursday as opposed to New Year's Eve.
Yeah, that's
at the beginning.
opposed to January 2nd.
Yep. Okay, I'm good with that.
thank you.
Mhm. All right, so we ready to vote on this?
Okay, ready to vote.
Ms. Cooper,
We're voting on the consent
ready to
agenda.
vote?
Cooper, yes.
Ms. Frederick,
Yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, announcements and information. The Highland Township offices will be closed Monday, December 25th, and Tuesday, December 26th for the Christmas holiday. Office will also be closed Monday, January 1st, 2024 for the New Year's holiday. The Festival of Trees is running right now, 1st through the 31st of December. Okay, do we have any public comment? Wow, everybody put their hands up.
I have something.
Okay,
Speaking about the Festival of Trees. Thank you so much for keep going out and trying to reset all the lights. I know it's been a terrible hassle. But it looks very good.
well, there's nothing worse than the wrath of a bunch of women who want their trees lit, so. I'll climb any ladder for you, ladies.
Well, actually, it's not a ladder. Well, it's a ladder in the bucket of the tractor.
Quiet. Gonna get me in trouble. Okay, that's enough of your public comment. Anybody else want to say anything? I have one, but not with anybody on the ladder, so. Our attorney is cringing over there, probably wondering what I'm talking about. So, all right,
Can I say something real quick?
sure.
So lately, I've had a few people tell me how much they really love this building. And the way it was built and the way with, not extra millage or bond or whatever. So I just want to say, it's been a few people have told me, and I think that's pretty good that people are realizing how it was built and so on. So I think it's just been just out of the blue, the building looks great and we love it. And so it's a good thing. No, not really, but it's good though. Positive is right.
Uh-oh. All right, so we'll move on to the next part. This is a presentation by Missy Dashevich for the Highland Downtown Development Authority. Required PA 57 informational meeting. So pull it down just a little bit. Okay, now
We can put some cinder blocks underneath.
Give it a
it.
test.
Yes, is this better? Okay. So as Rick said, I am Missy Dasovich. I'm the Executive Director of the Highland DDA, and this is the informational meeting number 1 that's required by the PA 57 of 218 law. So the purpose of this meeting is to inform the public of the goals and the direction of the authority. The meeting is not the purpose of voting a policy, budget, or other operational matters. Informational meetings may be held in conjunction with other public meetings, which we are here at this public meeting. Our mission statement: the Highland Downtown Development Authority is dedicated to the promotion of economic growth and historic preservation in Highland Station and the surrounding business district. The vision statement, I'll keep it short. Our vision for the Highland Station is a district, one of a charming modern hamlet where attractive historical homes, vibrant small businesses, and healthy lifestyle amenities appeal to people of all ages, returning Highland Station to its place as the center of our community and a destination within the region. Next. You want me to read the whole thing? Okay. Now, these are our board members, who I'm very proud of. Roscoe Smith, he's the chair. He's a property owner. Michael Zurich, vice chair, property owner. Christina Hamill, treasurer and business owner. Also a property owner. Rick Hamill, township supervisor. Matt Barnes, he's the business owner of Fragments. Cassie Blasick, property owner. Dale Begley, resident of Highland, as well as Jennifer Frederick. Kathy Tiderington is our recording secretary. And then, of course, there's me, the executive director. We meet the third Wednesday of every month at 6:15 at the Steeple Hall, which some of you may know it, sorry, as the HBCA, which is what the sign says currently out front. And also those that have been around a while, the Highland Township Library previously. We are an accredited Main Street Oakland County community and utilize the National Main Street 4-point approach structured with 4 committees. They consist of design, create an inviting atmosphere for all, create people-centered spaces, and celebrate our historic charm. Economic vitality, provide resources, education to our businesses, and strive to create a strong economic base. Organization, build leadership and strong organizational capacity, encourage community engagement and relationships with other organizations. Promotions is to market district's assets and unique features to create a place. Okay. All right, now I slipped this picture in here. Volunteers, that's the heart of our, everybody that's involved with the DDA, there are some paid staff, are volunteers. And this group of fine volunteers is the Highland Garden Club. And that, and that is the relationships. We build relationships with other organizations in order to create or to establish our mission as well as theirs. That's okay. It gives me a moment to take it all in. No, don't be sorry. The following are Highland DDA accomplishments for 2023. Improvement, investments, and events. Going to start out with design. To the point this report was made, approximately $53,000 has been spent on our streetscape, landscape, and the maintenance thereof. The Gateway Ticket Park improvements, maintenance, and the wayfinding signage project, and that's a biggie. Started planning stages of a large gateway mural installation project. Now that's just the beginning stages. Economic vitality, $10,000 has been spent to assist our small businesses with workshops, sales, retail events. Meet with businesses regularly to see what resources are needed. We do offer a rental subsidy grant to one business. They apply for it. New business, 5 years and fewer in the district. Serve as a liaison for grants and education. We're always looking for that for our businesses. And the digital marketplace. We were invited by Oakland County to be a pilot. And this is like the Amazon, but just for Oakland County businesses that are in the Main Street program. So we are just getting into that. Okay. Okay, and we're very proud of this. This was chaired by board member Cassie Blasek. This is the Highland Township wayfinding signage project in partnership with Highland Township. So what that means is the Highland DDA paid for these signs to go up in our district, and the township will follow suit and following suit in the other parts of Highland. So This is an example of a business owner meeting. There are business owners, there's relationship building here with the Highland White Lake Business Association, the Thrive arm from Oakland County, some board members. So this is where we're talking to them and asking them, what do you need? These are projects of 2023 continued. Organization spent just under $1,000 for promotional items to be distributed to the public, letting them know we're here and how they can be involved with us. They maintain a business database, website, and marketing media. That's really stepped up lately. Promotions. $11,000 for successful growing farmers market. $24,000, and there's going to be some more going into that by the end of the year, although it says by the end of the year for placemaking and events. We just had a fantastic tree lighting. $2,000 were spent with supporting community events within the district. Here's an example of an organization committee project. Was mailers to the residents of Highland, and this was a wonderful piece. I slipped these two in here. This is an example of promotions committee. These are new. One's they're place building, placemaking projects, retail events to support our businesses. So Lights on Livingston were lights that were put in the gardens. There were solar lights, and the initiative was aimed to attract attention to the East Livingston Business District. That's where, the Maher Feed and Sniffer Station. And it also, people came down to look and frequented the restaurants and stuff, hopefully as well. So it benefits the entire district. The skeletons was Haunted Highland. And this was a grant that was written. Main Street Oakland County made it available through Flagstar Grant, so they supported it. And I put this one in particular because the grant only covered so many skeletons, but people were so excited about it, such as this business, they went and bought their own and added to it. And you can see some lovely ladies came out and made an evening of it at Duke's and got their picture taken. And that's what we're trying to do. Our projected projects for 2024, pedestrian wayfinding signs, a large mural installation, continue to maintain and improve our landscaping, as well as our seasonal installations that you see in the fall and around the holidays. Our banner program, which crosses over into organization, which all of our projects crosses over in all the 4 committees. But it's also a fundraiser, which helps us bring these nice things to you. Invest in, we're particularly large, and this is going to be over a period of years. But this coming year, we're going to investigate the connectivity of the sidewalk heading to the south, which may involve the boardwalk in front of Colasantes. Economic vitality. Accounting classes will be brought to our businesses. Now, this is in result of one of those business meetings. I said we need accounting help, and they particularly liked the QuickBooks software. Retail events, liaison to the grants and other educational opportunities, and continue the rental subsidy and the Shop Oakland digital platform, and to partner with Oakland County's Thrive program. Now, these are purely bragging slides. So this is a banner program. It runs from year to year. I'm very proud of that. I love that those slides have the historic buildings on them. Our Shop Small initiative, which really is put out there by American Express, Oakland County, Main Street, Oakland County, and Genesis. They contribute the marketing for the Main Street, Oakland County, like the picture frames where you get your selfie pictures and stuff. The projected projects of 24. Organization, continue to establish and maintain partnerships with other organizations, community outreach to advocate and educate for the Highland DDA, bring educational resources to the board staff and volunteers, recruit new and maintain existing volunteers. So if anyone's interested, come see us, and we will have our biannual volunteer fair in 2024. Promotions, we will bring the 6 concerts to downtown Highland, as well as partner with the library to bring a concert that they host, organize, and plan. This is a new one. The 2 annual community festivals in downtown Highland. Seems it's a better fit for the DDA to organize and plan that. Our annual tree lighting, of course, continue our Highland Farmers Market, the apostrophes in the wrong place. Continue to support the retail events and the Main Street small business events. In a nutshell, this is what we do. We improve the economic environment, create a there by establishing a place, and you have arrived, improved the appearance of downtown, continue to be involved with our township, government and other community organizations, build a volunteer base, and one more is to celebrate our historic architecture. Here's that beautiful Gateway Park. It was also in the beginning, and we added some new furniture, cleaned up the stone out front, replaced some signs and some fresh paint. This is a fun video. It's the Locals Strike Back, Star Wars theme, obviously. Main Street, Oakland County has a event called the Main Event, where they brag and all the communities get together and they run contests and they nominate people within the organization for awards. And this contest was to win, was it $2,000 for a grant, a prize, if you will, and based on a promotional video of your downtown. And so that was ours. Place to gather more brag photos. I love this photo because everybody is together, gathered. And this is at one of our concerts in the summer. Ooh, this was just our past tree lighting event, Spring Mills 5th grade chorus. They lead a sing-along. This is a tradition here in Highland, and summon in Santa. More brag, Veterans Park, Steeple Hall. We added some new amenities. The fire pits. There was also a horse and wagon, horses and wagon. This is celebrating our community at our farmers market with sidewalk art contest. The families really love it when we do family activities. And Highland DDA wants to wish everybody happy holidays. So thank you.
Thank you, Missy. I guess it's been probably at least maybe 10 years ago, I watched this Hallmark Christmas movie, those tearjerker things. And at the time, I wasn't actually on the DDA board. And it's before it's been more than 10 years as a supervisor. That's what brought on and I'm not saying I'm responsible, but I brought it up at a DDA board meeting that we should put Christmas trees all up and down Milford Road. And the idea was to somehow replicate that Hallmark movie thing, you know. And the irony of all this is the tree lighting this year, multiple people made the comment, this is just like a Hallmark movie. And you can't score any more than 100% on something like that when you get people from the public that just make that comment. And we aren't even at the pinnacle of what we could do to make it a real movie. I mean, it's a real Hallmark movie. Of course, we got to keep the underlying stories out of it, you know, the locals. But it turned out great, and I want to thank the DDA for making that happen. It's been a lot of fun working on it. And yeah, the lights can be a pain, but you know what? The pleasure way outweighs the pain. So I'm more than happy to see more happen. So thank you. All right. So
Mr. Supervisor,
yes, sir.
I neglected to get in on public comment and accented when she talked about the signage, the new signage. I'd like to make a comment. I'd like to make a comment about the signage.
Sure.
When it was presented, I was concerned about the Highland letters just floating out in the middle of nowhere. I said that's not going to be visible. And as I drive by, the Highland name needs a backing behind it. It's lost as you drive through the town. So I think we need to really think about maybe putting a white backing behind it. So Highland stands. The signs are beautiful. I love the signage. Okay. But the word Highland disappears. So I'm not, maybe anybody else seen that or noticed it?
Yeah, I could semi agree with that. But as the more I looked at it, the rationale that not to touch it is, it's not that you want to look at the sign and see Highland. You want to look at the sign and see, where am I going? And as you approach the sign, the Highland, and if you do this, you'll see the Highland will show up. But there are some scenarios where the background is too green or something, but we'll have to look at it but putting a white background on it blocks out the opportunity to see anything that says Highland. So we'd have to modify that. Maybe we have to reverse it, but we'll work with it, see what we can do.
Okay,
That's
I'm just
made out of
making
aluminum.
a comment that
Yeah.
it loses the word Highland. So, okay, I'm done.
Yep. All right. Next. Okay, the next item is we're going to introduce zoning ordinance amendment Z030, short-term rentals, farm markets, and other minor corrections. This is an introduction only. There's no vote on whether this introduce it, and that's it, right? So I'm going to make a motion that we introduce zoning ordinance amendment Z030, short-term rentals and farm markets and other minor corrections.
I second.
Okay, moved and supported. Anybody have any discussion they'd like to talk about on that?
And
Work overview.
there's,
Turn your mic on there, Judy.
I was a little bit confused with the email from Mr. Fall.
I know.
It was just,
That's on page 81. You probably wonder why I know that.
we've had this discussion all day.
The same question. Mr. Fall is kind of he came in because he purchased the house. I believe it's due north of the is it the American Legion there? On Duck
No,
Lake Road.
Yeah, it's right around, I'm sure it's on the lake.
It's on a canal. It's
VFW?
VFW. I'm sorry, not American List. Anyways, just north of the VFW, it's on a canal, and he purchased it and wanted to do a Airbnb. Well, we didn't have an ordinance for Airbnbs. We just had an ordinance for rentals. So he got quite involved and engaged in it with our team here. Sometimes good, sometimes not so good. But everybody here worked very hard to try and get an opportunity for him to at least have that ability. And it turns out that that particular house is in a district, a commercial district that allows for that type of rental.
Okay,
But right, so it doesn't allow for it at this point. So this is to help with addressing the Airbnb potential issue. Now, that letter that you're speaking of, I don't know if I can get to page 81 here or not. He wrote an email. So I'll read it to you so that people
Okay.
understand. It says, this is from Tim Fall. Hi all, I'm sharing this concern as I won't have time this evening to discuss. I received the below letter from an intent to purchase my property via land contract. It's extremely lucrative for me, as in too good to be true. Upon further research, I found that Home Partners is owned by Blackstone, which is a subsidiary of BlackRock. If you are unaware, BlackRock is on a mission to own 60% of the U.S. housing market within the next 5 years. They are a major player in the WEF,
cheers.
and we can say there's
I don't know. what that is.
conspiracy theories here, but
Yeah.
whose objective is that common people will own nothing, thus renters for life. This isn't good for our community, and I wanted this commission and office to be aware of their scheme. I'm not sure what can be done on a community level. However, in my experience over the past 15 years, I know there's a level of concern for our community from those on this distribution. So Mr. Fall, being the one who was very adamant about getting this Airbnb thing going, is basically kind of talking about not do. I don't know what his point is, but so that's what the letter's about.
So in the new zoning is it a new zoning proposed?
So it looks like in the text amendment, anything that's red.
Is
So
a change?
is a change or an addition. So it looks like they're updating the definition of hotel and motel not to include short-term rental.
Okay,
And then it looks like they're adding a definition of short-term rental, which is a rental of a single family residence, a dwelling unit in a 1 to 4 family house, or any unit or group of units in a condominium for terms of not more than 30 consecutive days. And then under section 2C3, that's just another text amendment they added. They must have missed that when they added C3, I think.
Yeah.
And then Class A farm markets are now allowed in residential districts.
they are, okay.
And then short-term rental subject to 10-35. They're allowed, oh wait, I must have missed one. Hold on. I thought it was allowed in C1. Oh yeah, at the bottom of the page before, local commercial C1. They're putting as a permitted use, short-term rental. And then section 4.12 Highland Station, they're adding short-term rental to that. And then they're saying that short-term rental will be a zoning administrator review versus a site plan review. I didn't read this.
I think that's it.
Well, and then this is the supplemental use, so it tells you more about it. Short-term rental of dwelling units in non-residential zoning districts shall be limited to units existing prior to January 1, 2024. Units utilized for short-term rental are subject to the rental certification. And then to be eligible for certification, the property must include provisions for 1 off-street parking space per bedroom.
Okay.
So they're adding it to C1 and Highland Station District. We currently don't allow it anywhere,
Okay,
but I have to look back. Are they allowing it in C3? I didn't understand that one.
yeah, I was just confused where it was allowed.
District regulations establish to add the following record to the table. No, so that was something different. Okay,
And then the farm markets
so that's
are allowed in,
R3, R1.5, and LV.
okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there was a lot of information I still have to review, but luckily we had that.
Okay. Any other questions on that? Once again, this is just an introduction. There'll be another at our next board meeting. We'll have that opportunity to make that.
Are you ready to vote?
Yes.
What are you talking to me?
No.
All right, Mrs. Frederick,
Yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes?
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Next item, as I hope most of you know now, I hired we have a new assistant in my office, Cassie Blasik, and no, hold on. And she apparently can't handle it all, so she's conned me into, no, I'm just kidding.
Rude.
So anyways, Tammy, myself, I think just about everybody on the board has agreed, and even Judy when she was in office as a treasurer, we talked about marketing. How do we get to the people in our community with the information we would like them to be aware of? And we had a newspaper for a while and that disappeared, and we've tried all different types of techniques for doing it. And the biggest problem is that Judy's plate was full, my plate's full, Tammy's plate's full, Jenny's plate is full. I made a point of hiring an assistant who has the skill sets to be able to make that work. And she's excited to be able to, hopefully, I know you'll be able to do it, Cassie, to manage a new assistant that we're hoping will approve tonight. And that is the supervisors created a new position, communications and community engagement specialist. That's a lot of letters on a title card there. A CCES. Okay, this professional is responsible for assisting with the development, coordination, and implementation of a variety of communication and marketing activities. We advertise it on our website, the digital sign, and all local social media platforms. We received 5 applications. After a thorough review of each application, there was one subject, only one, to be honest with you, that really stood out. And after review with the hiring committee and House officials, it was unanimous that this applicant would be the perfect fit for this position. And I'd like to recommend that we hire Christina Lloyd. And you think it says Swanson, that's because she just finally changed her name. How long you been married now? You don't need it. I mean, you should be able to keep your own name. But so anyways, those that may be looking at this see Swanson, it's Lloyd. So to fill the position of communications and community engagement specialist, starting pay will be $21.05 per hour, not to exceed 29 hours per week. An effective start date will be December 12th, 2023. That's like tomorrow. I'll make that a motion. That was pretty long-winded. But
Support.
okay, moved and supported. Vote please.
I have a question.
Question.
Tammy, so with the new range, do we need to say what range that is? Like number 2 or grade, sorry, grade 2 part-time? Okay,
I'll add that to the motion.
okay.
Grade 2 part-time. So you graduate from first grade to second grade now. Okay. Vote please.
Clerk Flowers says amen. And yes, Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes?
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Miss Frederick,
Yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Yes.
Motion
So
carries.
sitting in our audience is Tina Lloyd. Welcome to your new position. So your face is probably going to be the most obvious face in the township after we put you to work. So you're going to be the face of Highland moving forward. And we appreciate it very much. And we're looking forward to making this work. I think you're going to have a team in your office. Cassie and Elaine are really looking forward to working with you. And I've had a great time working with those two, and there's a lot of good stuff to come. So be glad to have you a part of it. All right. Well, thank you. All right, the next item is budget amendment for communications for a new hire. That's so we can pay for you.
I would move to approve the budget amendment for the communications position as presented.
Support.
Moved and supported. Vote, please.
Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Ms. Frederick,
Yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
Okay, so I'm going to throw something out there for future stuff. Tina, I think that on occasion, more often than not, maybe we will probably ask you to come to some of these meetings so that you can keep the board appraised on what's happening and what you're seeing and so on and so forth. And I think that'll be a good way to start a two-way knowledge fest here. So be looking forward to that. All right, did we vote on that? Yes, we did. Boy, short-term memory loss for sure. 9D is the board, Heidi's got a situation where she's submitting Sandra Blagg to fill the position available at the Highland Activity Center for a floating staff member. And it's also capable of working security. And we did do an interview, which we finished up this morning. This position will cover not only cleaning duties, but also be able to cover staff absences due to illness, vacation, or other emergencies. She submitted a resume, passed all her checks, and has been through her interview. Her requested starting salary will be $17.60 per hour, and she will be considered a part-time employee, not to exceed 29 hours per week.
Second.
Sure, I'll call it a motion. Okay, motion was and second, and then vote, please.
And I just
Yes.
want to make sure everybody knows this is a new position. It's not an open position.
Right.
And the language isn't exactly clear, but the budget requested was for 29 hours per week, regardless of, I think it sounds like she's going to have a regular schedule regardless of anybody being sick or whatever.
Right.
So that's the
The-
situation.
Yeah, the current cleaner, Teresa's looking at retiring. And so she's going to be taking on those jobs, which will be more of the hours than anything, but she's also going to work as a security on weekends and stuff. When Heidi has that activity center maxed out for the entire season. I think almost every Saturday and Sunday, she's got something booked in there. So they need a security person and then somebody to clean up and all that other stuff. So, all right. So, vote on that. We did.
All
Not
right,
yet.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Miss Frederick,
Yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
Yeah, next item is, I'll make a motion to, approve the budget amendment for the floating security position, which we just approved, for 2023 and 2024.
Support.
Moved and supported. Vote, please.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Miss Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
All right, next item is Highland Activity Rental Contract. And this is a marked up version. And did you look at this one? Did Lisa? Okay, Lisa did this one.
I have one question when we get to it.
So there's two
I lied. No, I don't.
markups in it. One markup is failure to clean, or if damage occurs will result in charge to the credit card. And under alcoholic beverages may be served but not sold. The responsible party signing the contract accepts all responsibility for those who consume alcohol and releases any responsibility from Highland Township, Highland Activity Center, and their employees, volunteers, committees, and affiliates. The rest of it is okay. That's a letter of indemnification.
Does this represent rate increases as well?
I believe so.
But those weren't redlined.
The red lines was from the attorney
Okay,
and the insurance, I think was the blue.
so we're also approving increase to the rental rates in addition to the revised contract.
All right, somebody want to make a motion to approve? Microphone.
I would move to approve the rental contract for the activity center. That includes increases in fees and the notations that are notated in red and blue.
Support. Are you
Okay,
done?
moved and supported. Vote please.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Miss Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, this next item is the hazardous waste. It's the problem with this particular document is it doesn't say exactly what the cost is going to be because it's based on weight. So the only thing that we can do, and we did already allocate for this, the last time, I think it was 2 years ago, we had it cost us $82,000 and some change. We put in the budget for 2024 after Cassie did some investigation and worked with the company here to up that to $100,000. So we're covered up to 100,000 in the budget. And that's covered by an increase in assessing for the trash from 165 to 185, 180. Okay. There's 180 something. And so the costs should be covered. Don't know how you can control it. I don't think that we're going to exceed that, but so anyways, in this agreement, you can see what the weight per item is or cost per item. So
Joe's saying you can't hear.
see, I think we're going to have to do some more work on this.
The contract or the
Yeah, I
value?
don't know how you sign something that has a open-ended dollar amount.
Yeah, since you have
Put
to,
it right up to your,
since you have to line it up with your budget, it's kind of
Not
hard
to exceed.
to proceed with a contract that's open-ended like this. I'm sorry.
I said, there's no way to close it because you have no idea what's gonna come in, right?
Right.
So you just guess.
You could approve looking into them subject to, final verification of a bid or a quote or something. I mean, we recommend using them
They don't-
subject to.
Cassie, they don't need this answer this month, do they? You have a suggestion, Ann, on what direction we should have with that?
Punt.
Punt?
Well, I think
Is there a way for this to be put on next month's agenda?
Yeah.
And then possibly have Lisa
Have
or
Lisa
I will
review it.
review it.
Yeah.
And have to look at it.
Okay, I'm gonna suggest that we send this agreement to our attorneys and have them come up with a verbal resolution to the problem of what's the cost, that's how do you have a not to exceed when they're taking stuff in and then they weigh it after they've gotten it. So it's kind of a. we can-
Well, so we've done this hazardous waste for many years. And I know the cost goes up every year. But I think as a board, we could determine that, yes, we are interested in having the hazardous waste day. There are baselines on here. I know that does nothing for us, but like a 13,500 and a 7,500. I'm assuming those are baselines no matter what happens. And I mean, we agree to do it this year to see how it pans out. I mean, we've been doing it for.
That's
Mhm.
my question. Like,
Yeah.
it's the same
And
company, right?
Isn't it like before we paid by the car, we never knew how many cars were gonna come in.
Correct.
There's never been a cap on it.
All right, I'll make a motion to well, somebody else make a motion because I gotta sign it, so.
I make a motion to approve Household Hazardous Waste Day for June 15th, 2024, using ERG Environmental Services
And authorize the supervisor.
and authorize the supervisor to sign the contract.
Cooper support.
Okay, moved and supported. I guess we've discussed it already about a vote.
Ready to vote?
Any questions on the motion? Well, I believe it's a good community service, and I think we salvage a lot of things that would normally get dumped under the ground or into the garbage. So I think even if the residents might be concerned about spending more money, it's for the betterment of the community overall. And I think all the people that I've talked to appreciate having a place to go and get rid
Yeah.
of stuff, so.
And also we have looked into the Oakland County events that they have around Oakland County. And I believe even if you're a member, if we joined, our community, our citizens would have to pay $50 on site.
It's actually more expensive to do it that way. And they also require that Township sends people to work So you're taking it out of your community, you're expecting people to drive to another community. This is a great thing.
Say it was
I'm not-
here on the grounds
Yeah, right out
No.
here, right in the parking lot.
with the elementary, right?
Nope,
Oh, okay. I wasn't here last time. That's
on our
why.
on our own property.
Okay.
We got it set up. Good work.
All right. Rock on.
Yeah, my hesitation wasn't should we do it? It's when it's so open-ended. You know, I don't think we're gonna exceed 100,000, but I don't know how we're gonna weigh every car that comes and goes, because then we'll,
I do like the weight factor because in the past we tried to consolidate vehicles with trailers and it was just a big trying to get neighborhoods to, combine, and now it's a lot nicer. If somebody wants to bring two things, I guess it's just still wait. They want to wait in line for two things, they can, and it's still just the weight factor, which is a lot better than trying to, like we did before, just, combine this, combine that.
yeah, because of the number of cars.
Cars, right. So that's not much better.
Ready for a vote on that? Or?
Good. Okay. Ms. Frederick,
Yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, the next two items relate to firefighters. The first one is is it IAFF? Is that, yeah, IAFF? That's the full-time firefighters. We've had our meetings with the union and the chief, and in your package, even though it says draft, it's draft until we approve it, but we've agreed that to move forward and present it to the board. And chief, everything is copacetic on that with you?
Yep, I'm good with that. I've talked to our labor attorney. He was good with all the changes we did. I can go over any of them if you'd like real quick. There was one other one that we caught right after I sent everything over to the budget. That was that printout I sent to you guys. That's for the IFF one, yes. That was for Article 32 for their bereavement leave. They had asked for a change in that for their PTO time. Was one of the changes. They asked for a change during the contract that they actually can't use their PTO in the first 6 months. So with that, our bereavement actually states that they're not eligible for it during their probationary period. Well, ours at the fire department's a little different than in the township. Our probationary period's for a full year, if not longer. So that would mean a full year before they get to use, if something happened to a family member, they'd be eligible to use bereavement pay. So the change was to change it to, instead of their probationary, to a 30-day introductory period. So after 30 days, they're eligible to.
So it brings it in line with the townships.
Yeah, I believe the township's right at that 30-day mark.
All right.
There too. Yeah. That way, if something happens, that's the only other change. But if there's any questions, changes to the contract. Obviously, the wages was the big thing, as with every union contract. We ratified those. No arguments there. We're working to try to catch up to our comparables. We're all in agreement with them. The holiday pay, the department was at 11 holidays. We brought them up to the current 13, which is the same as the township has. There's a little change in their food allowance, bringing it up a little more with the cost of everything increasing. Cleaned up Article 27 for training and education. That had a stipend in there if they were to go off to class somewhere else. And it was a type of class that was authorized. And that was always a concern with the attorneys and with everything and back and forth. So we kind of cleaned that up to, it'll be any outside, it's not the mandatory training, but any outside training, extra trainings that they go to. We'll work it out beforehand, either whether they'll get paid for it or they won't get paid for it, or the department will just sponsor them, or maybe the department can pay for the whole class itself and host it inside the department. There's lots of different options, but we cleaned up that language and made it a lot easier for more working together for that education. An increase in their PTO time. The banking system was it was based off the townships. So if they use one day, that's 24 hours. So it's a lot more than just the normal 8-hour day. So we increased the amount of PTO time they gain a little bit, and we increased their cap. That way they can accrue a little more. They'll burn it up a lot faster if they end up getting sick or anything like that. With the attorney's recommendation, we fixed limited duty, Article 29. And then also leave of absence, we fixed that one up. That was all based off the attorney's recommendation. We added in a acting captain. It's a pay. Basically, if something happens where our shift commander or the captain that's on duty that's in charge of running the day-to-day operations, if he's gone for a period of time, a period of shifts, after 3 shifts, then whoever's filling in for him will get a kind of like an acting captain pay for stepping up to that role. Add in Article 33, which we actually missed on the last contract on both sides. Somehow that was just the retirement. It's the same as the township has and always has had. It's just, it was actually never written in the contract. So we added that in there. Healthcare retirement, added a little bit to that one. And the daily shift operations was the last thing. That's Article 40. Basically, it's with them being the full-time workers there, it's their responsibility to make sure all the day-to-day operations get completed. So they wanted something written in that stating it's their responsibility, and that they might have to direct paid on call employees that have been there longer, but they still might have to direct them, things like that. Just to kind of show that chain of command and how things should run. But everything was agreed
Okay,
upon
so
and good.
your recommendation is that we
I'd recommend
approve this.
approving and signing the contract, and I can take it back to them and have them sign it, and we'll be all done with this year. And it's a 4-year contract, and won't have to worry about negotiations with the IFF. We'll come back
Right.
up in another 4 years. And
How's the sentiment of the firefighters overall?
how is it set with them?
Yeah, the sentiment. The sentiment. How do they
Oh,
feel?
no, they're good with it.
Okay.
As far as I know, they're good with it. I mean, obviously,
Move it.
our wages were the biggest thing. The contract itself, everything in there, we're both in agreement about a lot of the stuff and way everything should be, and we're fixing any wording we messed up, trying to fix stuff like that. We're all in agreement about that. Wages are always the controversial thing. I don't know if I could go pull up websites right now. White Lake's hiring. Commerce is looking at hiring. Commerce is looking at, once you're topped out pay, being over $100,000, if I remember correctly. I mean, that's quite an increase, and it's not far away. It's right kitty corner to it. White Lake's talking about quite higher wages than we're able to provide right now too. So the factor we're trying our best to catch up to our comparables means a lot to them. I think hopefully means a lot to them. It shows that we're doing what we can. We just got to do it within our financial means, and they understand that.
You're doing a great job, Chief.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. All right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Chief, could I just ask you a quick question? Could
Oh,
you
yeah,
just
definitely.
refresh my memory? So there's currently a 4-year contract in place, and this is just a renewal as of January 1st, 2024.
The first contract was a 3-year.
Okay,
Yep. This one will be a 4-year.
okay. And
Yeah.
then are
That one's
all,
up at the end of this year, and then this new one will take effect to that.
oh, okay, thank you. And are all full-time firefighters automatically included? I mean, they can't opt out. This is a contract for any full-time firefighter?
Yeah, there's been a change in the stipulation to the rights to opt out. I don't have them all memorized, but I know they could opt out of them in the past, but they're still obviously protected by them. They couldn't vote on them. They couldn't have any say in them, things like that. But I think the rights to that, or they can actually require them to be part of them now. Based off the state laws and things like that. Don't quote me. I don't remember 100% how that law was changed.
Okay. And does this mirror other townships contracts pretty much?
Yeah, like our,
Okay.
one of the things we updated was our discipline and discharge or disciplinary action, things like that. We pulled that right from Orion's. I mean, we updated ours to get a little better. Yeah, we look at the union, will look at all their different union contracts, and our labor attorney will look at all the different contracts he's been a part of to try to make sure that, why reinvent the wheel. Let's try to work. We already found something that works and try to go with those.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
So does your 24 budget reflect the numbers that are in
Yes.
here? Good. Okay, thank you.
My 24 budget that I presented was a actual high end type of thing. And I was hoping that we'd get some of the stuff a little lower. But at the highest rate, basically worst case scenario type of thing.
How far off are we on the pay with other departments?
Based off 23, anywhere from, depending on what department you go to, anywhere from 8 to 18% off. Average is right around the 11%. The budgets that proposed to the township were for the next 4 years, and basically I figured it out. Trying to get them since I'm basing off the 11% that we're off, I was trying to get like a 24% raise for our medics in the next 4 years. To try to keep up with basing it off that 11%, plus if everybody else continues to get at least a 3% raise every year, which they probably will, if not more. Try to keep it up to catch up to our comparables.
All right.
So that's how I did that calculation.
I have no questions. Is that doable then? Are we gonna, I just hate to see it, I know money talks, right?
yeah.
And
Based
people,
off
we
of
don't want
our-
people leaving
Yeah.
because we've got a great fire department, but sometimes you
Yeah,
have
oh,
no
exactly.
control
Yes,
over those
and,
things because money does talk.
Yeah,
If
the
we're
mon- the
we're
money
talking
does talk.
$100,000 in commerce,
Yeah.
and
the
where
hard
will
part
we
is-
be compared to that? And it's money. It's over longevity. It's a lot of money. So
Yeah. no,
hope we
no.
can figure this out. We hate to lose. We can always replace. I get that, but we have a good department, a
No,
great
we
department.
have a great department. I mean, it showed just the other day with the structure fire we had. We had an attached 2-car garage, or actually 3-car garage. Whole top part of it fully engulfed, and it didn't make it in the house. Our guys stopped it before it got in the house. They did a great stop. And that was down in an area that doesn't have water. It's not easy access. Dirt road, not, easy to get to. And our guys did absolutely fantastic. So, I mean, it's, our retention is a very key to our thing. And that's one thing is like, we talked a lot of different stuff I talked with the union president a lot about, let's try to fix, we can't fix everything. We just don't have the funds for it right now. But let's go for the comparables is the big thing and I think that's and showing we work for that, hopefully we'll show that, help keep that retention and show that commitment we have to them. Because we do want them to stick around. I don't want to lose any of them that we have right now. We have a great set of team right now. So I'll do they know I'll do everything I can to keep them there and, do everything I can to keep them happy.
All right.
Speaking of that fire, I think I heard the sirens going off. I swear 10 minutes at my house were coming. I thought, man, something big's happening. And he was telling me what happened, how many they called in for other
Yeah.
departments. And it's pretty amazing that you did what you did because I knew it was something, could tell something was big. Something big was happening as they were coming for 10 to 15 minutes. So good job.
Right, so that's, did we get the motion in there? Who made a motion? Who supported?
I don't think there was a motion.
Support, Salvia?
Okay,
I move to approve the agreement between Charter Township of Highland and Highland Township Professional Firefighters Union.
Support, Salvia?
This one was for International Association of Firefighters. Sorry.
okay. Vote, please.
All right. Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Ms. Frederick,
Yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, next one is the agreement between Township of Highland, Highland Township Firefighters Association, Michigan Association of Firefighters, also known as MAF.
Yeah. The map one of again, the negotiations actually got to a kind of a later start. They've had a change in their union president and things like that. So it's kind of put them through a loop. We hired two very active people in their board with that last hiring in October. So it's kind of had a change for MAF. So unfortunately, they weren't able to take all their contract back to their members and make sure everything was good on their end. We're not expecting any major issues like that. But I would like to ask that we actually table the MAF contract until next month.
We can do that.
Because they weren't able to get all their answers back from MAF board and things like that. And I want to make sure all of our ducks are in a row before we worry about that.
The next board meeting is January 8th. Is that too late?
Doesn't matter when, it'll be after I already informed them that we had to try to rush to make this contract to today to make the contract enact for January 1st. So it'll have to go in and act either whenever we agree upon to initiate it next year. You just act on the old contract until you justify a new one.
Yeah, it was very, very small number of changes, so.
Yeah.
All right, then we'll, is the correct term table? Move to put it on the table. I'll make a motion to put it on the table till the January board meeting.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported. Vote, please.
Mr. Salvia,
Sylvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe.
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Miss Frederick.
Yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
So just so people know that as you were with me, I think Jennifer and I met with the union rep, and the firefighters were supposed to be there, but they were on a call, so
Yeah,
there was nobody available.
that was one of our 2 structure fires we've had this month. But
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to have a meeting, although we took what the union rep had, and it was very agreeable, I think. And as long as I know that Nick probably agrees as well, but you do have to get the union members to vote on it. So, all right. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it.
I appreciate all you guys' hard work with it.
Okay, the next item is I'm going to throw this at Tammy. She's unfortunately the individual that takes on this responsibility. So, Tammy.
Mhm.
We're a team, Tammy. Don't listen to him.
It's fine. I don't worry. Okay, so we have 3 requests here. We can take them one at a time. So we're gonna be losing our long-term bookkeeper, Miss Lavoy. And that's a pretty significant change for us. And as you know, it takes a lot of time to recruit and hire and train a new person. Especially given everything else we have going on with the elections. So the first one is something that that Plan Moran has suggested that we consider graduating the township from a kind of place that can be run by a bookkeeper to the kind of place where we have an accountant, which is sort of a different level of requirements. You would have somebody who would have a bachelor's degree in accounting and a good amount of experience that would help us potentially save on money that we're spending on audit preparation. Yeah, accounting services. In the past, our auditors used to come in and kind of assist us in the way back with some of our bigger, more complicated issues. And now they're not really allowed to do that per se. So we've had to hire that service out, and it gets to be pretty expensive. So this represents an additional cost for us, but I think we'll be served better by this in the long run. So does the board support what we've suggested here? Assuming we can find or attract someone who would be, in the accountant pay range. If not, we may have to punt and end up going still with another bookkeeper and then maintain our plan of having accounting services provided by an outside vendor. We're not really sure how much or who will be able to attract and if they'll consider our pay efficient. So I want to have the alternative to go either way. And So I would like to have an expression of support for that if possible.
For grade 5, what is that salary range?
So grade 5 goes from 16, almost 70,000 to 92,000 this year, which is pretty generous. Some of the, we looked at comparables. There's another entire level beyond accountant that gets into financial director, which some communities have, and that's a lot, you know, they get paid a lot more. So we're gonna try to steer clear of that level and try to hit that middle lane of accountant. And I think we could probably make it work.
So are you suggesting from grade 4 to grade 5 if need be? So grade 4 is 50 to,
Yeah, grade 4 goes from 51 to 69,
And
gotcha,
grade 5 is what?
70,000.
70 to 92.
Okay, thank you.
So my target, my preference is grade 5. And if we cannot find someone within that range, then we could still fall back and go with the grade 4. If that makes sense. Okay.
I think
Well, the last thing we need is a repeat of something that happened in the past, so. We'll, we won't bring any more up than that, but,
I think we'll save money in the audit side since we've been hiring Gap. So to me, it makes more sense to have somebody in-house that's qualified and
I
can
think,
move forward.
I think there's room for us to grow in terms of like our financial planning.
Mhm.
You know, we could really, you know, need someone to help us with like a capital plan, like.
Now, there's secondary elements that will become of value with an accountant person that you're
Agreed.
struggling now with. So. Well, I would make a motion to authorize the township officials to secure searching for an accountant person.
Okay,
Support.
all right, let's.
can we add the, that falls within the grade 5 pay structure?
Yeah.
So,
Yes, yeah. When saying accountant, it would be a grade 5 position. Yes.
5. I suppose if that doesn't happen and we end up hiring someone with grade 4, that would just be, you know, what we are already doing, so it wouldn't need approval per se. Okay, let's vote on this. Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Miss Frederick,
Yes,
Clerk Flowers votes yes, Mr. Salvia,
Sylvia, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
yes,
Motion carries. Okay. Item number 2. We don't have time to wait for a board meeting to bring the candidate to your attention for approval. So without wasting a lot of potential training overlap time. So we're asking for the board to authorize the 3 in-house officials to make that selection whenever we find a correct candidate.
so we're setting aside the board policy. Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to set aside the board policy for the purpose of allowing the in-house officials to make the personal selection, a pre-approval hiring of either a bookkeeper within of a bookkeeper within the grade 5 pay scale. Does that? That's where we
Correct.
want to go?
What's that? Or an accountant with.
And an
grade 5.
accountant in grade 5.
Are you making a motion?
That was a motion.
Okay, I can hardly hear what you're saying.
Cooper, support.
Okay, let's vote on that. Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Miss Frederick,
yes,
Clerk Flowers votes yes, Mr. Salvia,
Sylvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Emily, yes.
Motion carries. All right. Now, because her end date is so close to the election, and we have almost no time to get a person in and up to speed on doing payroll in time. There's actually a pay date on election day. And it's very concerning to me. So I would like to secure a payroll service for the at least the first 6 months of 2024 to help us weather this little transition we have here. We can get it all set up in January and February while Amy is still with us. And then it will carry us through. And then once we have our new person in and fully trained, then we can evaluate, when's the best time to move off of that, if we want to do that.
So 6 months is 12 pay periods? Is that how?
Approximately, yeah.
And then the quote that we looked at was approximately like 4,300 per pay period, something like that.
Okay, so we talked to ADP on Friday.
I think so.
And we have an initial quote. Now it's very rough. We don't have everything all real hashed out. I am not asking you to approve that right this minute. We have more detail to get into with them. We're also exploring, Amy sent an email off to Civic to see what options they have.
Oh.
There's other companies out there that we may explore some. I did contact a local CPA, and our project is pretty complex for a CPA to commit to for just a short-term situation. So,
Question.
Yeah,
Would Amy be available just to do payroll?
she is literally going out of state for
Okay,
3 weeks immediately upon retirement. And that overlaps, I think, with 2 payrolls.
She, in our conversation, she was pretty clear that she's retiring.
Yeah.
And would prefer not to get re-engaged in it. So I think
Are potential suppliers willing to take on a service for a period of 6 months?
You're saying like the accountants or the auditors?
Outside payroll
Payroll.
services?
Yes, so we're talking with, already we've got one that we've talked with, and we've got others that we want, we're gonna explore as well. So I'm not asking you to approve a particular vendor or cost at this point, which isn't really hashed out yet.
okay, I got a motion for that.
I have a question. Would it be beneficial to have a payroll service?
That's what
all
we're
the
talking about.
time? No, but all the time. I mean, instead of a 6 months, I don't know.
For 6 months, it's 48,000.
I know, but I mean, but
Or
is it beneficial for a
104,000.
township to have somebody like that doing it all the time? I don't know. That's what my question is. We're talking about 6 months. Is it better to have somebody that you just have and not put it on one person, I
Right.
guess, or whatever? I don't know who's all in charge. I mean, I don't know, actually, I'm not gonna lie, who runs all the payroll, but
So if we were to do that, then we would have, our financial person would be part-time. Because payroll is,
I mean, there's a lot of things to consider going forward.
yeah,
here.
there's,
We could take it different directions. A lot of townships do use payroll services. The way we've been doing it, and we just kind of stuck with it over the years, was using our lead bookkeeper to do it. There may be reasons to consider continuing with a payroll service once we settle on a candidate and we really kind of sit down and think about it. Does it make the most sense for them to be working on that, which is very time consuming? Or do we want them to work on other aspects of accounting? But for at least 6 months, the people we talked with, the ADP, we are not going to be required to sign a contract for a year or 6 months even. It's just a service agreement where as long as we continue with them, this is the price that they have.
okay, thank you.
Tammy,
Mm-hmm.
so if we do go with the employment or the accounting service, is there any type of a training period too? I mean, you get this person in and, I'm guessing that they're still going to have a training period because all townships may not be identical. So what would that be? I mean, you've got a period of time where you're not going to really be able to utilize their services 100%. Would that be the case possibly?
So that's one of the reasons I want to go ahead and go with a payroll service. Our software that we have is, I think I've never heard of I've never met another jurisdiction that uses our software. So most people who are working in accounting in governments right now are on a piece of software called BSNA, which we don't have. We have this really strange company that's out of Wisconsin for whatever reason. And maybe we'll be changing that. That's one of the projects that could be handled in the near future with a new person. But it is really particular, the program we have, and I've been trying to train myself on doing payroll over the last year and a half, and it's just super time consuming and super complicated. So I wouldn't rely on us being able to get a new person in and train in time to get it done and have it done right.
It would be really important to launch so that the payroll service would be able to start with our year-end figures. That would be good if they could launch by then. That way they're starting with the year-end figures.
It's not really feasible to have them start January 1,
Okay.
but they're accustomed to taking over midway. They'll be fine with that. We'll just provide our year-to-date numbers. They'll incorporate it. It'll work.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion here.
Okay.
We've discussed it out prematurely here, but I'm gonna make a motion that the in-house officials be permitted to select a payroll service provider to be used for at least the first half of 2024.
Support.
May I make a
Okay, moved
suggestion
and supported.
that any contract that must be entered be reviewed and approved by any contract that must be entered be reviewed and approved by legal counsel,
Yes, that too.
Contract approval
which I should have had you do on the
Condition upon
household
approval of
waste.
by
legal
attorney.
counsel.
Right.
All right, so do we have a second on that?
Yeah, it's Judy seconded it.
Okay, vote please.
All right. Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Miss Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes?
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
All right. We hit the end of the internet right there, so.
I just want to say thanks for the discussion on that because it's important and make sure we get it done right.
All right,
Can I say one quick thing before we adjourn?
yes.
So everybody has one of these note Post-it pads at their place. And there's a box over there if anybody else didn't get one. So, we have this kindness that Nancy Branstetter came and talked to us about. And the idea came up to do some wholesome graffiti around town. So you can take these with you when you go out and about and just slap one up somewhere where people can see it. And it's just a kind of a little reminder to think about kindness as people are out and about. It's a super important time for people to be thinking about kindness these days.
Absolutely. All right. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Happy holidays.